All right, more questions. Let's see. Pilon and Pilon and Kilai, something like that, asks, butchering all of your names, I do apologize. What animal would you want as a pet? This can be from games and fiction or from anything. If we're talking real life, I have a fish right now, so I can disregard fish. Um, we've always had cats, so I would have a cat, little house cat, little kitty, maybe two. Although if we're talking from games, let's see, having a pet Deathclaw would be quite fun. Beware the Deathclaw. Yeah, that would keep burglars away, wouldn't it? Or off the Warhammer world, like I would like a pet squig. That'd be quite awesome. Most of you don't know what that is. It's like just like this red ball with a mouth and little teeth. That's what it is. Quite dangerous though, I imagine. I have to keep it chained up. It wouldn't be a very good pet actually, thinking about it. Be a good like guard dog, but then a Deathclaw would as well. For useful. Oh, what about a game called Dungeon Keeper 2, where you have imps that run around and do all the odd jobs and stuff, and are quite happy doing that. That would be nice. Yeah, an imp from Dungeon Keeper 1/2. That would. I mean, hopefully they wouldn't dig holes in my walls and stuff like that. But if I converted their skill in mining to household chores, I could have a little pet imp. Yeah, that would be quite just to like be a slave, basically. I wouldn't want a pet. I want a slave. Yeah, that's my answer. I would want a slave imp, not the ones off Doom, off Dungeon Keeper. Um, Cod out, Cod Rebel. Okay, asks, would you ever consider doing an LP of Dragon Age? Oh, I've asked that. I've answered that before, probably. Um, Bingo FTW. Are you going to do LP of horror games like Penumbra series, Clive Barker's Undying, Amnesia: The Dark Descent? And what is your favourite horror game ever? I don't think I will be LPing any horror games, because especially not like The Dark Descent, because I've seen so many other people play The Dark Descent, and it's very funny watching them. But because I've like seen them do it, it might not be as scary for me. It might. Then again, I don't see the point of doing it, because I've seen so many other people do it well that I don't really see the need to do it as well. Because when I do an LP, I do try and put a little slant on it, like with role playing Oblivion or doing interactive Morrowind. And when I did Baldur's Gate 2, it was like the second Baldur's Gate 2 LP in the on YouTube, I think, that was finished. Necros was the first, but I did mine with mods. Well, I think he did too. I don't remember. Anyway, so I don't think that I could add anything to the horror game LP. I mean, Halloween's got that down, hasn't he? So, and what's my favorite horror game? Well, I don't really play horror games. I mean, the only one I could really think of is either Doom or Fear, and they're not really horror games, are they? They're first-person shooters with a kind of scary edge. I have a game called Obscure, but I never really got into it. Never really grabbed me that much. So I don't think I've really played horror games. I don't think they're my sort of thing. Honestly, they're not really. I don't really do horror games, so I wouldn't bet on any appearing on my channel like ever. So don't want that, because I don't think you're going to get it. Vanessa Bryn 89 asks, who do you like more, BioWare or Bethesda? Oh boy. Do I like the people that have made Baldur's Gate, or do I like the people that have made the Elder Scrolls and Fallout? It's a bit unfair, because I haven't played any new BioWare games in a long time. Like, I haven't played Mass Effect, I haven't played Dragon Age. So, whereas with Bethesda I have played Fallout and I have played Oblivion, obviously. So it's a bit unfair. So with BioWare I would be going on how they were, a long time ago, as opposed to how they are now, because I don't know how they are now, because I've never played a game since of theirs since they were bought by EA. So so really we're saying, because they were out more or less, well, vaguely at the same time, a couple of years in between, do I like Baldur's Gate or Morrowind? And Baldur's Gate is my favourite game ever, so I would have to say that I like BioWare more, based on that theory. However, Bethesda, I've yet to play a game of theirs that I haven't liked. But then I played the Morrowind, Oblivion, and the two Fallout 3 games. Um, well, Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. I guess. Oh, I don't know. Like, I think Bethesda have done more with the RPG, like for the RPG. But then again, no, they haven't because BioWare did Baldur's Gate, and that's like the epitome of RPGs. Oh God, what a question! How dare you ask me that? I can't pick between BioWare or Bethesda. I suppose like if someone said to me, right, you get to decide, one has to stay and one's going, I would probably pick Bethesda to stay. There you go. So it's maybe Bethesda. At the state they are now. There you go. I've said it. Ragox, what are your thoughts on the current situation of humanity as a whole? I think the current situation of humanity is the same as it's always been. I think that we focus too much on the bad stuff. There's a lot of bad stuff that is happening and has happened in the world, but you got to remember, for every one bad person, there's 10 good people out there, and they don't get any press. History is always about the bad stuff that's happened, the wars and the genocide and everything. And I don't know why humans have to look upon themselves like that, because we don't see history, we don't remember all the good stuff that's happened, because most of the good stuff that happened is stuff that's resulted from war and stuff ending, I guess. But there's been decades of peace in countries, and we never hear about those because nothing happens. And the reason nothing happens is because we don't like hearing about nothing. We like hearing about news, and news is always bad because we like to hear about bad things. I don't know why that is. Going a little off tangent there, maybe. But what are your thoughts on the current situation of humanity as a whole? It's the same as it's always been. Having said that, I think that the world, slowly but surely, with humans, is generally getting better, very slowly. Whether we will manage to get ourselves right with regards to each other and the planet in time to stop utter complete catastrophe remains to be seen. But I'm talking couple hundred years ago, slavery, racism, it was all go. Now racism is on the decline. I'm gonna say, people are waking up, and it doesn't matter what color your skin is. Racism is a stigma now, and I think things are gradually getting better, but it's taken a goddamn long time. Like the past say 100 years, the human race has just suddenly gone. We've all suddenly come together, whereas before it took months to get from one landmass to the other. Now it takes a couple of hours, and so everything has just suddenly become crammed together over the last couple of decades, and that's never happened before. And so we're all suddenly meshing, and a lot of people, most people are like, oh my god, but I think because of that, at the time of this recording, there's all this stuff happening in Egypt and Yemen and Libya, with people revolting over their dictators because they want a democracy, and they want to, because they're seeing how it is in other countries and how much better it is, and in the end that's going to be a good thing. So I think generally we are more or less kind of going in the right direction, but we're stumbling over every single stumbling block we could possibly stumble over. We're even finding extra stumbling blocks to put in our way to get there, which I guess is just human nature. But we're getting there eventually. Whether we'll do it before we blow ourselves up and completely rape the planet, I don't know. Probably not. Because my own opinion of people generally is that we're not doing ourselves or the world any good, and we never have. But I think I try to be a bit of an optimist and think, there are things that are going well in places. We just need to manage ourselves better, because we're not really fit to manage ourselves at all, because we're ruled by greed and ignorance. If the world didn't have greed or ignorance, everything would be fine. But because of those two things, I'm serious. Those greed and ignorance. If you take those away, we'd live in a utopia. But because we have those, we don't. Alright. Oh, we're out of town. Alright, next video coming up soon, guys.